Hey friends, and welcome to Roman Taste Videos. Today we are making sticky toffee pudding. This beloved classic that we can thank England for actually doesn't have a long history, though it really has become a beloved classic for good reason. This is usually baked in a dish or a muffin tin, but we are taking this and making it in a loaf tin for this recipe. That means we don't have any stodgy pudding. We can slice our slices for our guests as big or as small as we like, and we still have plenty of sauce to go around. I'd love to know if you give this a go, so add a comment below, tag me on Instagram at Roaming Taste, subscribe for more videos like this, and if you do give it a go and would like to leave a review, simply follow the link in the caption below. Those dates will weigh 150 grams once we've removed pits, so it'll be approximately like 8 large medjool dates, and we'll want to preheat our oven to 180 degrees Celsius or 350 degrees Fahrenheit and greaseproof a loaf tin. Now we'll want to place the dates and the boiling water in a small bowl and really press them to make sure they are well covered, setting aside for 20 minutes to soak and soften. We'll want to place the butter and the dark brown sugar and the light brown sugar in a bowl. If you only have one of either of these two sugars, you could definitely sub in equal measure the full amount. The dark brown sugar really complements the flavors of the dates, so I do recommend it here, but it is not essential if you do not have it on hand. We'll want to cream those together on medium for approximately 3 minutes. So you'll notice that the mixture will go from partially lumpy to like smooth, and then it will begin to like go fluffy, and the color will turn a more paler like date color really. So usually sticky toffee pudding is made either in a pudding dish, like a baking dish, or it is made in muffin tins, and you absolutely could use this batter in either of those ways, but I chose to make a loaf because then we can just slice that loaf and douse it in sauce, and it is not stodgy at all. It's like a nice light cake. It is such a great core recipe for sticky toffee pudding for anyone who loves them. Now, once we have combined the butter and sugars, we want to add in that egg and combine until it's really nice and smooth. You'll notice that the mixture will kind of like loosen up a little bit, and you want to make sure you can't see any portions of egg remaining in that batter before we set that aside, because now we need to make our date paste with those softened dates. So I have an immersion or a stick blender. If you have a blender, you could absolutely place them in there and blend until nice and smooth. Because there's not a huge amount of water or dates in this mixture, it will be something that you kind of like need to fight off. You might need to stop the blender a few times and scoop the mixture out to make sure that it is getting nice and pureed. We want it to be nice and fine like that, but don't worry if there's a few little lumps there. That'll just add to our pudding. We'll want to place the milk, vanilla extract, and that beautiful date paste, which we'll want to make sure we get every last ounce of out of our blender, and put that in our bowl and combine until there is no like milk residue left in our bowl. This is really nice and smooth, and it will begin to look like it's kind of starting to curdle, but that's what we want. So you're doing great. We want to set that aside because we now need to sieve our flour, baking powder, and baking soda to make sure it's like nice and smooth and not lumpy at all. And once we've done that, we can then add those dry ingredients into our batter. We'll want to incorporate that batter on the lowest setting until there is no like super wet residue on the bottom of our bowl, and there's no dry or flour residue on the edges of our bowl. Look at that beautiful batter. If your batter looks like mine, you're doing a perfect job there. We will want to smooth our batter out to make sure it's pushed into all the edges of our loaf tin, is nice and even, and then we'll want to bake it for 50 minutes or until it's super golden on top. You can test it with a skewer. The skewer will come out clean, but really it's that super golden color that will show you that it is done. Once we have let it sit on our bench top for 5 minutes just to kind of like cool slightly, you will notice at the edges of the loaf tin, it will begin to have like pulled away. You see there's a slight gap. This means it's perfect, and you can simply invert the pudding, and we'll want to press down. Look at that beautiful pudding. Don't worry about those dark brown marks, those just like little granules of dark sugar. Want to press down on our loaf to make sure it's nice and even, and then we get to making our sauce. We don't need much for the sauce. I simply put in 2/3 of our heavy cream, all our butter and our brown sugar into a saucepan, and that maple syrup and salt, and we cook it on medium heat until it is all that butter's melted, but really it's simmering. You'll see here my spoon, the sauce, which is not really a sauce yet, but it comes off really easily off my spoon. It doesn't really like leave a layer. This is where we want to cook it. We want it to really simmer and bubble, you see there. So the entire process of making our sauce will take about 6 minutes. We want to ensure that we let this mixture really caramelize, and that the butter and the cream really has time to incorporate with that sugar. The sugar is fully dissolved, as well as that butter has fully incorporated with that sugar, and this is a really nice smooth sauce, and that it really leaves a nice thick layer of coating on the back of your spoon. So once we've cooked it sufficiently to it leaving a really good layer, we'll want to add in the remaining cream and cook it until it is as dark as we're wanting it. If we prefer a lighter toffee flavored sauce that tastes a little bit more buttery and silky, we could cook it for approximately 90 seconds to 2 minutes. Once we add that second portion of cream, it will be much lighter and it won't really set. However, if we cook our sauce for a further 2.5 to 3 minutes after we've added that remaining cream, the sauce will be a significantly deeper in caramel color. All of those ingredients will have had more time to really combine together and create like a really thick, luscious sauce, and it will begin to thicken as it cools. Don't worry, when we heat it up, it will like loosen itself and will turn into a sauce again. But you see here, I went for a slightly lighter, more like buttery sauce on this version, whereas in the photos on my blog post, I went for a thicker version. Whatever you prefer is how you can make it. It's all about just controlling your cooking time of that sauce. Now we are ready to serve up our sticky toffee pudding, and you can make your slices as large or as small as you like for your crowd. We always want to top with a scoop of vanilla ice cream and then douse in more sauce. This makes plenty. I really truly hope you enjoy this, friends. Do subscribe for more videos like this and leave comments if you give it a go.